Okay, here we go. This is my first video on legal subjects. Hopefully they'll get better. Let's get right on to the point. You'll be able to find me soon enough. Uh, we're gonna approach all this legal stuff that I've been watching everybody else do, uh, and about speeding tickets, foreclosures, uh, DUIs. Some of the best ones I've seen out there is Mark Stevens at adventureandlegalland.com. Uh, Dario has a lot of information. That's Dario.com. Uh, Alex Jones has a lot of information. You can find him on uh, Infowars.com. Uh, I don't have the caption on my video yet. And everything. I'll share these information sites with you at a later time on the video. But basically, throughout my study of 20 years with the legal system, uh, you don't have to be a party to the Constitution for it to protect you, because the Constitution is where they gain their authority. So if they claim that you're not a party to the Constitution, which you'll never get them to say, uh, if they make that claim or make that accusation and you can't gather protection through the Constitution, then they have no authority in doing what they're doing, because you're not a party to the contract. So therefore you're not a party to their authority, whether it be the district attorney, the sheriff department, the local police department, the feds, a numerous amount of them, IRS, ATF, DEA, ICE, uh, all the big bad ones. Uh, Basically, it don't matter what you're doing in the United States. There is two types of laws: civil and criminal. Some people call it equity and abmality. Uh, they're one in the same. Uh, the the difference being whether you have a civil case or a criminal case is whether you intentionally done it or you accidentally done it. Now, just because you're drinking and driving don't mean you intentionally uh, ran down that mailbox, or whatever the property damage might be. The intentional doing of the act would be for you to tell Rosemary that you was going to run her mailbox down. Unintentional would be for you to back out of your driveway and not see Rosemary's mailbox and run it down. Both of them being property damage, but one, you intentionally did it. Two, you did by accident. You was not aware of the presence of the mailbox. If you're intoxicated, whether it be alcohol or drugs, and you didn't see the mailbox, you unintentionally ran down the mailbox. So it's not a criminal case, even though the law says you're not allowed to drink and drive. Now, the only thing there is it would be a civil case of property damage, and they could levy restitution against you, but the state could not levy uh, criminal charges against you. They could levy fines and penalties because you had violated the statute and you had signed a contract by getting your license that you would abide by all the stipulations of the license. Now, some people will tell you that this license, they did not disclose all the facts in the contract, so therefore the contract is void. Okay? By you accepting the contract as disclosed in full and participating in the contract, you have enjoyed the benefits of the contract. So therefore, you have to adhere to the stipulations of the contract. You can get out of that by surrendering your license and giving a notice of surrender and acknowledging the fact that you are not a commercial driver anymore, so therefore you don't participate in the contract that you once signed. As long as you leave the contract not owing any fines, penalties, or fees, you can leave the contract without any stipulations. Now, you can enjoy the benefits of the contract and then leave the contract without paying the other party in the contract. Uh, as long as you leave the contract not owing anything, then it's free and clear. Uh, we'll touch a little bit on the foreclosures and everything, and this is just a start on the law side of it. Foreclosures, whether it be credit cards or houses, cars, or whatever, the whole banking operation is just as others have said, is fraud. But when you turn around and you make the claim that you're not going to make the notes because you didn't create the debt, well, you accepted the conditions of the contract. So when you do the whole thing of you didn't cut me the check, you cut someone else the check, all that kind of stuff, that's fraud on fraud. And two wrongs don't make a right. You created the debt. Yes, the banking companies and stuff, they try to mess you over as much as possible, but if it's not in the contract, then they can't do it. So you need to read the contract. If all the contract's not there and everything, then you get into a gray area of whether it was disclosed to you and everything. It's a little bit different than the driver license and all. We'll touch on that a little later on and go into that a little bit more detail. But basically, you borrowed the money to buy the house, or you borrowed the money on the credit card by swiping it down at Sears and buying that nice outfit you wanted. So therefore, you took party of the contract. Now, the only stipulations is you have to pay this back. Sure enough, they didn't. They say that you owe them money that you never received, but you knew this when you got into it. If you didn't know it, then you shouldn't have been getting into it, because ignorance of the law is no defense. You partake part of the contract when you moved in that house. So a lot of people don't want to hear it, but hey, you shouldn't have bought a $400,000 house when you couldn't afford it. You should have bought you a $30,000 house. So, you created the debt, you need to pay it back. If you can't afford it no more, take out a second mortgage on the place and take that money that's free and clear and go buy you a $30,000 house, let them foreclose on the $400,000 house, and because the second house is not tied to the first house, the second house is free and clear. They can't come after it. The only thing they can come after is the collateral you put up for the original mortgage and the second mortgage. Well, my time's running out. I'm gonna make other videos and everything, but basically remember, no victim, no damage, no case, no standing in court. Well, I look forward to talking to you again.